What's up, everybody? It's time for the freaking NFL playoffs. I'm your host, Tony Lane, on the non-biased NFL playoff Pickem show. And as you can see, with no brown or orange anywhere on this is going to be the most unbiased NFL Pickem show in probably the history of sports. But I'm Tony Lane here with the Dude Network, and we have the one, the only, the freaking legend, the mover of the social media needle on game day. He's classy till kickoff, Chris Reflog McNeil. What's up, man? Thanks for coming on here tonight.
It's so fun to be doing a playoff show rather than doing a mock draft right now, right?
Yeah.
Middle of January, we're talking playoffs, and we're talking playoffs because the Brownies are in it. We're going to cover all the games, but it's just great to really be invested in what's going on, really paying attention to all the other teams, seeing how down the road it may affect us. And oh, by the way, to the football gods out there, I'm not assuming anything. I'm just saying that I'm very invested in these playoffs. Go Brownies, right?
Go Brownies. Again, non-biased show. And
Non-biased.
since it's a non-biased show, we are going to save the best game for last. We're going to do the Browns-Texans on our last pick. Again, non-biased. It's just the way it showed up on my phone. Sorry, folks. Not really. But so first, though, NFC. We're AFC guys, right, Chris? You know, AFC North. Yep. We live it all year long. So we're going to start out with the NFC. Pretty wild because some big names that were Super Bowl favorites really stumbled down the stretch. And that is the NFC East. Used to be the least, but now they kind of had the least effective down the stretch of any division, I would say. But we'll start it out here. Interesting matchup, big spread. We're going to pick up straight up here, but we'll talk about what the spread is here too. And these odds are from Tipico Sportsbook, a great Ohio sportsbook here. So we got Packers on the road at the Cowboys. Packers are 7-point favorites, underdogs here. Sorry, Cowboys are 7-point favorites here at home, which means it's a 4-point spread. Vegas thinks these teams are 4 points apart, 3 points for the Cowboys. Cowboys, in my opinion, Chris, here, really good season overall, except again, last 2-3 weeks, they really faltered enough to the point where with Belichick quitting, people were already running Mike McCarthy out of town. Then they're trying to give Belichick the red carpet. So what's your take on this game here between how about them boys hosting the Pack Nation?
Oh, it's interesting you mentioned Mike McCarthy. This is a chance for him to go back and play his old team and the team that fired him in the Packers. So a little bit of a revenge game, a little bit more juice on the game for them. When are they playing? They're playing Sunday.
This is the Sunday at 4:30 Eastern time.
Sunday at 4:30. Yeah. So, and I think that plays into it a little bit more so though for the Cowboys. It's just like, which Cowboys team are you going to get? And like you said, with the entire NFC East, it's like, which version of these teams are you going to get in the playoffs? And certainly the Cowboys have a history of stumbling in the playoffs, especially when they have every reason to kind of take that next step, and you keep expecting them to take that next step. Usually that next step is backwards down there in Cowboy land. So I don't know. I don't think the Packers, Jordan Love, I really don't think at this point that they're ready to take that leap. And going down to Dallas is going to be awful tough for this squad. So I expect the Cowboys to get it done, but I would not be surprised for the Packers to give them a little bit of a run for their money.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the body of work here. Packers really finished strong down the stretch there, but I also look at the division they were in. Detroit didn't have the strongest second half, and then you're playing the Bears, you're playing the Vikings with their like 5th, 6th, 7th quarterback of the year, more quarterbacks than the Browns have had. And they beat some teams. They won what they needed to run, but I really think this Packers team just overachieved this year. Great season. Things are looking up yet again. Looks like they're 3 for 3 on this whole quarterback thing, which is just disgusting how easy they make it look. But I'm going to go with Dallas as well. So looks like hopefully we don't agree on everything here because we have not shared our picks before this. But yeah,
everyone behind the curtain. We did not compare notes. We did not discuss any of these games, so you're seeing it fresh.
Yes, and actually we have a history of guessing the same takes on a lot of stuff. We should probably discuss some things beforehand so we're not always the same.
Do the radio thing. I'm going to take the other side of this.
Yeah, like a hot take. Yeah, all right, I'll be the Skip Bayless here. Green Bay is going to come down.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting you mentioned Skip Bayless on the Cowboys pick here. You know, that's
Yeah.
obviously his team and a team that he talks about ad nauseum. I tell you what, if the Cowboys do lose, he'll be the first person who I'll look to his feed on Twitter to see how he's blowing up on that one.
Yeah.
Probably make it about LeBron somehow.
It'll probably be it's probably Bronny's fault now.
That's right.
He's old and he's a legal adult. We can now come after Bronny. So but I'm down for that one as well. And actually, we forgot to show here is the look of the this year's NFL playoffs. We do have a
Oh, we have
brief
the bracket. Look at that. Look at
look at
that.
the hey, picture
We
in
got
picture,
visuals
folks.
here. Man,
Oh,
oh
we got
man. Look at
stickers.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, wait till next week, man. We got some other stuff cooking. So we got our buys here. You got Baltimore and you got San Francisco on both
Yep.
sides of the bracket with the first round bye. Everyone keep in mind, NFL is the only league where it reseeds. So this is all subjective and this will change week to week because if the wild card comes out and takes care of the wild cards come out and take care of business this week, it's going to really shake things up. And that's why, in our unbiased opinion, the Browns are sitting real good at that top wild card spot if they can put together a couple wins. There could be a chance.
While we have this beautiful graphic up, I won't go into my analysis of these games, but I will just mention that if the Miami Dolphins were to win, as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers were to win, do you know what happens? Do you know what happens?
We're home next week, aren't we?
We're home. We host the Miami Dolphins. So that's the way that bracket stacks up on that AFC side. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're watching these games.
Yeah, again, if you're into the whole Browns thing, and if you are
right,
unbiased. All right, so Dallas. Now, okay, real quick, spread, real quick, yes or no? Cowboys -7. Do they cover? I'm going to say no.
I was gonna say I'll tell you what, I'll go the opposite way. I'm gonna play the radio thing. I'm gonna say Dallas gets it done. They come out, they get rolling. McCarthy is juiced up. He's able to cover. Dak goes nuts. They cover the 7-point spread.
Can we talk that it's got push written all over it though in a straight up situation?
It does. No hook on that one.
No hook. There's actually a couple. There's three. There's only one game with a hook right now for this weekend. So that's
interesting.
Now there was some at the start, and some have went off. Another game with no hook coming up here is the Rams at Detroit. One of the Great Lakes team. I may or may not have a future prop bet on Browns Lions Super Bowl because it was juicy. It was so juicy.
And I think that's what everybody's really rooting for. Biased or not, that's what America needs. They need the Lions. They need the Browns. This is where football is born and bred, is in this part of the country, and our fans live and breathe it. And boy, it would be nothing better than Lions, Browns in that Super Bowl.
Man, could you imagine?
No, I couldn't.
Could you imagine what Vegas would look like with a bunch of degenerate Lions, Browns fans interacting and mingling? Like, could you imagine?
Vegas. They've seen absolute degenerates out there before. They haven't seen anything like Detroit.
I was gonna say we're gonna old A, stay clear.
Next level.
Wear a vest, not just for shrapnel from just fireworks exploding one way or the other. People will catch shrapnel. So we got Rams, straight up, Rams, one of the hottest teams down the stretch. They got Kyron Williams back at running back, and that really they stunk without him when he was out for 6 weeks. And then when they came back, they lost one game down the stretch, and you could make a case that they are one of the hottest teams in the NFL, getting hot at the right time. You got an experienced quarterback in Matt Stafford. You still have Aaron Donald leading the defense on the defensive side, and you got Lions in unfamiliar territory back in the playoffs. They fumbled there against Dallas in that questionable situation. However, that actually shook out. Lions have a chip on their shoulder, even though but here's the thing, they're the home favorites, and you got Matt Stafford playing against his old team. So, what do you think on this one here, Chris? I think I know which way I'm leaning here, but and I'm not going to change it. So, who you got here?
The Lions are hosting their first playoff game at home in 30 years. 30 years. How about that? That's great for the Lions fans. They've been beaten down. I mean, I generally hate Detroit, but we have just kind of this brotherly thing with Lions fans. The Cleveland Browns playing them for the Barge. You remember that back in the preseason?
It's still a trophy in the preseason, isn't it? Or is it missing still?
It's still missing, I believe. That's one of those things we got to find.
You got it. You got it. I know you got it in your studio.
That's right. We've got it hidden at Burke somewhere.
Yeah, it's out there. We put it in Chico's. We put it in Chico's locker.
That's right. That's right. So we've always been akin to spirit with the Lions fans. I think they're able to get this one done. I think they're also riding a lot of just pure emotion from the fans, from just the momentum of the season. I can see the Lions going out and getting it done at home. The Rams themselves don't scare me that much, to be honest with you. I know that they've got big play potential with that offense, but I think the Lions can handle them. What was the spread in this game?
It's 3 points. It's got push written all over this one too, man.
God, no hooks once again.
No, there's only one hook. It's Dolphins Chiefs is the only game with a hook.
That's not much. Oh boy,
and that's the one that you don't even really worry about a hook. It's like the one game that we'll give it a hook.
Yeah, I'm going to say Lions cover at home.
So can we it's almost like Vegas doesn't really know what the hell's going on, man, with no hooks. Like seems like they're really cool with pushes.
Yeah,
hey, we break even this weekend, we are fine. I don't know, man. This is so
they're begging everybody to make a decision because you don't have that kind of warm feeling you get with a little bit of a hook that just kind of puts you over the edge.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm going with Matt Stafford, man.
Are you? Interesting.
He's won a Super Bowl. Really, about the only thing left to really prove in his career is coming into his old stomping grounds, and you got Sean. So quarterback, I'm going with Matt Stafford over Jared Goff.
Okay.
Coaching, I'm going with Sean McVay over Matt Campbell or Dan Campbell. Yeah, Dan Campbell. I'm going to take Aaron Donald over Aiden Hutchinson. I'm going to take.
Okay.
I mean, they got the running back advantage. So I think, Aaron Donald's anchoring down that defense, and, they got some players. I just think Detroit, I'm going to go with the Detroit's not ready for the moment.
Wow.
I think that they've played so hard all year, man. There's been no off weeks for that team. There's always jacked up, juiced. Like, that team has had a long season, in my opinion. And they lost Sam Laporta, and they lost the rookie Reynolds last week too. So, and he was those are two valuable rookies that really contributed to the offense. So it's going to put more pressure on Gibbs back there in the backfield. And then you got Aaron Donald waiting on him. So does Rams load up the box now, knowing they're without a couple receivers? We don't know.
Go after him.
Yep. So that's my pick on that one.
So you're taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Lions.
Hey, look at us. Radio.
There you go. There's your deference.
Damn good radio show. All right. Eagles at Bucks, final game of the NFC. Again, push city. Eagles -3, Bucks +3. The home dogs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, take the field.
That's right.
On 8-15.
And the stumbling Eagles, once again, another team from that NFC East that is just stumbling all over the place. I had them at one point as the best team in football. Then at one point, I had them as the second best team in football. Now I don't know what the Philadelphia Eagles are with Jalen Hurts. Do you?
A lost team that's struggling to figure it out at the wrong time of year. That's what I see.
It's amazing. You see a lot of teams right now who are backpedaling. You really do. I mean, you mentioned the Rams who are kind of going the opposite way, but you have a lot of teams that are backpedaling right now, and
Dallas,
Eagles are certainly in that category. Yeah.
I mean, hell, even the Chiefs, you could even say they stumbled down the stretch. This was not a lights-out Chiefs team this year.
That's exactly right. So are you falling in love again with Baker? Is that what you're doing in this game here?
I know how Baker plays pissed off and determined, and we've seen that for 3 years, and the dude can will together some pretty crazy performances. And it's not like the Buccaneers suck outside of Baker. It's not like they need him to really win. They just need him to take good care of it. They've won a lot this year with him not even having 250 yards passing.
Yeah.
I think the Buccaneers are built.
Which is familiar.
With game management. It's a game management thing. And I think Baker's been doing this long enough. Listen, I don't want to give Baker any more credit than the next guy, but at the end of the day, man, the guy shows up in big games. He did it in Cleveland.
Yeah, and I don't have any animosity toward the guy at all. You know, he left. Didn't work out here in Cleveland. Wish him well. It looks like he's healthy now, which is a big part of it. And you know, there's questions over whether he was entirely at the end there with Cleveland. And it's good to see, you know, some of that swagger back. You know, it's kind of like seeing your ex out there, and it's like you wish him well, and you know, but not too well. You know, I don't want to see him win a Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Right?
Yeah, like I don't want us to
You know,
look completely look like idiots on this whole thing here.
yeah, I still have a soft spot for Baker. I thought he came in here, gave us the swagger. He had, you know, a playoff win that was completely improbable against the Steelers, winning both of those games back to back against the Steelers, and really should have had one against Kansas City as well. If a call would have gone the other way, I think we would have won that ball game. So, I mean, Baker has done well for Cleveland in that short time, really, that he was here. Didn't end well, and now he's picking it up down there in Tampa Bay. I'm going to go with Baker. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I think they're going to get it done. I think this stumbling Eagles team continues to stumble and can't find their way in time to keep their playoff run alive.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Philly, man. I
go the opposite way again. We need a little ding here every time you go the opposite way.
Ding! We just move. We have that. It's me. It's just ding. Yeah, when someone says good question, I'm like ding. So that's the
I
Duke
do have
Network
some.
sound.
I don't know if these. Oh, that's a rim shot.
That counts. I mean, it's better than what I'm doing. I mean, let's go with it. Hey, we got a soundboard and on-screen graphics. What the hell is going on?
Look at this.
What the hell's going on out here? So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Philly. I just I could see Tampa Bay winning. I definitely see Tampa Bay covering the spread, being the home dog at +3. I just think Philly just figures it out. And I'm telling you right now, Philly goes down and looks good against Tampa Bay. You start putting Philly back in that Super Bowl contention immediately, because once that team figures it out with the talent they have, it's going to be a tough team to beat. Question is the offensive coordinator going to finally put together a good game plan for Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift? I feel like DeAndre Swift had a phenomenal first half of the year. You don't even hear his name anymore. So it's interesting how you don't hear nothing about DeAndre Swift. But all right, so NFC recap. You have Dallas over Green Bay, Detroit over the Rams, and Tampa Bay over the Eagles. And I have,
you know what that's called? That's called chalk right there. I went chalk on the NFC.
There you go. Yeah, you did take. No, you took one. Yeah, you took one dog. You took a dog.
Which dog did I take?
I took
Tampa Bay. Took Packers.
Yeah. Well, no, you took Tampa Bay. They're +3.
Or Tampa Bay. Oh, okay, I'm talking seeding though. Seeding though, Buccaneers. Oh. Buccaneers is the force. Yeah, in terms of seeding. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. No. All right.
I got Cowboys, Lions, Buccaneers. So I got, in terms of seeding, it's chalk. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I already feel good about your picks not beating mine, because there's always road wins in the first round.
Of the?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
How about that? Did you hear that one?
I did. Look at that.
Isn't that fantastic? I haven't used my old soundboard in a while here.
There you go. Hey, it's welcome over here, man. We love it. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and call. You're going to be 1-2, and I'm going to be 3-0 up here, so that's cool. All right, so now down to the meat and potatoes. Again, the non-biased side, the AFC. And there's one game that does not pertain to the AFC North. We're going to move on to that one here. We have the Dolphins at the Chiefs. The Dolphins, who literally had to suck for 5 weeks straight to get knocked out of the division, and they miraculously pulled it off. Tua choked on yet another big fat one down the stretch against the Bills at home this past weekend, and now as a reward, they get to go on the road to Kansas City. And may I throw it out there that it is going to be colder in Kansas City,
very cold,
than it will be in Buffalo, New York. It's going to be 30 degrees below the normal average. And yeah, so them Miami boys living that humidity, they're going to be getting some of that nice, dry, cold air deep down in the lungs, man. Old Cheetahs don't do good in snow. So what's going to happen here in this one? Will the Chiefs figure it out? Will there be 10 points total scored in this one? Where are you at, Chris?
I tell you what, I think you're going to get a popsicle at quarterback. I think it's going to be Tua Pop back there. It's going to be too cold for the Dolphins going into Kansas City. Arrowhead is already just almost an impossible place to play. You know, we saw the Browns play very well there a couple of years ago, but fantastic fans, fantastic atmosphere, and it can just be completely choking for an opposing offense to go in there. And then you add in and you layer in this cold for a Miami Dolphins offense that is really predicated on rhythm, on timing, and I think that messes them up enough. I see Kansas City rolling in this game, and I think Miami's going to be an out, even though I would love to see Miami win this game and be one of the components that I need for the Browns to host a playoff game next week. So I'd love to pull for you, Miami. I am pulling for you, Miami, but I think Kansas City is going to get the roll.
Unbiasedly pulling, that is, unbiasedly. But yeah, unbiasedly. No radio show here. We're going to agree on this one. I just don't see a world where Miami can bounce back from the crippling loss last weekend.
Tyreek Hill, does he do it? Is he the difference maker in this thing? Revenge.
I think the difference maker, what I was going to say is, the one thing we cannot predict is how many turnovers are going to be in these games.
Yeah.
Miami's got Jalen Ramsey back there. You know, they got some ball hawks. Yeah. Pacheco, is he going to be able to hold on to the ball? He's had some fumbling issues. Mahomes, turnover issues. Kelsey, drop ball issues. Are those issues going to be figured out for KC? There is
How many times is Taylor Swift going to be on camera? I mean, there's a lot of questions in this ball game, right?
The over-under was actually minus 123.5.
I'm going over.
I'm going over in the first quarter. Sorry, first quarter.
That's right.
Shout out Al Michaels, man. Free Al Michaels.
They're putting this thing on the Peacock for a reason. And that reason has nothing to do with what's going on in the field. That reason is Taylor Swift.
Yep.
They want to get all that money. Everybody's signing up for the Peacock. All those Swifties right now, putting the app on their phone, putting the app on their TV. They're going to be buying it for the month. And that's because they want to see Taylor Swift, not because they care about Tyreek Hill, not because they care about the temperature. They just hope that she's wearing something cute in the box.
And she won't be. Just newsflash. They will not.
Not like Jake Browning's girlfriend from last week. She's not going to wear
jumpsuit. Like stole the show, bro.
Woo! Somebody wants to be the next Taylor Swift.
Yeah, someone stole the show with that camel toe.
Trailer Swift up there.
Trailer Swift. Straight out of Greenbow, Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So KC on that one. Again, I do think that the defense can affect that game probably more than any other, because you take possessions away from Mahomes. That's the way you beat Kansas City. You're not going to beat them by ground and pound and working the clock. You got to steal some possessions for them guys. So, but I'm with you, KC. Now, the rumbling, bumbling, TJ Wattless, Pittsburgh Steelers on the road up to a very blizzardy-like condition up at Buffalo, which this is actually a benefit for the Steelers. If that is crappy weather, it's the one thing that can take Josh Allen out of the game without TJ Watt, and that is 16 inches of snow and negative 5-degree weather. So,
and 10-point spread between this game and the last game we talked about, because Miami going into Kansas City, that's tough for them. Pittsburgh, it's like in their backyard, right? In terms of the temperature and in terms of the weather, it's like, okay, bring it on. We're just like Buffalo. You and I are the same.
Can we throw some thumbtacks on the field before the game too? You know, like that's what Steelers are thinking. Like,
that's right. Anything to cheat.
You want some nails. 10-point spread. So everyone, clearly Buffalo. Wow. What a stretch to
that's a lot of
somehow close out this division. Like 6 weeks ago, there was like a situation 3 weeks before the season was up that they still might not even make the playoffs by winning out if everybody kept winning, because they had 0 tiebreakers. So they got hot. Josh Allen figured it out, and they rallied around. Yeah, they rallied around Sean McDermott, after the allegations came out of things he said 6 years ago. And they really stepped up after the Ken Dorsey firing and got a change of OC. And they've been hot. And Steelers, like I said, just lost TJ Watt. But Mason Rudolph, dude's been sitting in the cooler for 2 years, comes out dropping 30 points. All of a sudden, he looks like he's just got it all figured out. Most Pittsburgh thing ever. Pull a guy off the street, drop 30 points a game, be the next savior for 10 years. Not that I know the recipe, just saying.
Isn't that frustrating? And
I
that
wasn't.
was
I
all
didn't
the
feel like I
time.
came across frustrated when I said that. I thought I was pretty level-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me, I'll tell you what.
Oh, I am so over it, man. I was
Seen
like,
enough
come
of
on.
that. I thought there is no way this is the year, right? We go into every single year going, this is the year they're done. Even during the season, even going into the last freaking week of this season, you thought, okay, no Steelers, no Steelers. All of a sudden, you look down, there are the Steelers. They're playing in the playoffs. It's amazing. It's like clockwork. It's the worst part of the year is the fact that the Steelers continue to just make it in. They're just there every single year, no matter what seems to happen throughout the course of the season.
It was the freest money I've gotten all year by betting on the Steelers to just win on the money line because I was like, yeah, I know this game way
We've been
too
there.
well. Yep. So you going to go with? So who you going with then on this one?
You say it's a 10-point spread. That's a lot of points, I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
against these Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to lose to the Bills, but I think that the Steelers may cover that 10 points. I could see this one being one of those sloppy games. I mean, how many times have the Cleveland Browns played the Buffalo Bills in these type of just nasty conditions, whether it's snow, wind, rain, whatever it may be, and it ends up being low scoring. It ends up being field goals, 10-10, 3-10, 17-10, those type of games, and just kind of ugly. And if it gets ugly like that, then you're not going to see, teams able to cover, the Bills being able to cover. Nobody would be able to in that kind of a situation. So I think the Bills win. I don't think they're able to cover. I think Josh Allen has a very average day, gets the ball down the field, and that's about all they need to do, play a little bit of defense. And I think that'll be the recipe for the Bills to kind of get this thing done and get out of this first round.
It really is going to come down to the weather because there is one advantage I would give the Steelers over the Bills, and that is the run game with Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. And if it's like you said, a blizzard-like condition, I definitely don't think so Buffalo's going to win, unless something absolutely crazy happens. And that crazy of weather could be a thing.
Which, by the way, this is
but
the NFL
I don't see them
playoff.
covering the spread. I definitely see
Anything
Pittsburgh
can happen.
losing. What's that?
I was going to say, this is the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
You do have a lot of anything can happen, and especially you throw in that type of weather. So I could honestly see, and it being Pittsburgh, somehow they pull it out in the upset of the 2 seed. I don't think they do it, but I think you're on the same page there.
Yeah. I don't see the spread, and I think if it was going to be like 50 degrees and sunny, I would say Buffalo wins by 25. Three touchdown win and some random ass points. But yeah, so Buffalo. All right, and I already probably know how this last one's going to go. But the Super Bowl, the first round playoff game. I think a lot of people are really excited to watch this outside of the Northeast Ohio market. Houston is obviously very excited. It's hard for them to always battling for shares from Dallas down there. But now they're the team in the Houston area that everyone's really excited about. Tickets are still for sale.
For like $60. I just saw somebody saying.
You
People are
can
trying to
walk
figure
in.
out economical ways to get down there, because once you get down there, you're going to get in the stadium for a song. But it's just a matter of being able to fly down there and how you figure that out. And I even saw a few people saying, hey, why don't we do some kind of a carpool or something? Or anybody want to drive down there and we'll cut up gas money like we're back in college and stuff like that. Because I can't believe it. For as excited as you say Houston is, they don't seem to be showing up for this game. And that could spell some problems if they're not going to have that type of home field advantage that we would expect from a playoff team in the NFL.
What was explained to me by a good friend that's very Texans diehard is they are still struggling.
They have those?
Yeah, a few.
Wow.
He was one of them. Shout out Burley. But he was saying that the Billy O'Brien era was so bad that attendance has yet to bounce back from that era. He said it really did hurting on the fan base. It was so bad. It was such a bad stretch.
No way I can put up with that. As a Cleveland Browns fan, we went through 0-16. We went through a stretch of 1-31. We have had bad owners. We have had bad GMs. We have had bad coaches. We've had very good coaches who ended up going somewhere else, and actually a couple of them who just retired here not too long ago, or at least moved on from the teams that they were at. We have seen it all. And you know what? We show up. and we sure as hell show up for playoff games, and we'll
Never
show up
got
for
blacked
playoff
out
games
once.
at our house. If we're lucky enough to host one, we will show up at our house, or we will go to your house for those playoff games. I expect Browns fans to show up for this game by hook or by crook. We will be there. We will show out. That's pathetic out of you, Houston fans.
You suck.
You suck. That's
You
right, man.
suck.
Yeah, show up for the playoffs. Come on. Oh,
That's why you're home
it
point
was so
dogs.
bad. It was so bad in
Yeah.
Houston. It
And
was
that's
so
what I was
bad.
like, man, y'all don't know the struggle. Like these
Yeah,
Philly
don't tell us
fans.
not.
Have you talked to a Philly fan?
No,
lately?
I try not to. Try
Dude,
not to talk to
it
Philly
is the
fans.
most saddest situation. Like the poor and oppressed, and it's like, come on. You guys are still like, your Super Bowl rings haven't even collected dust in the mantle yet. Like, get out of here.
It's the same thing like Patriots fans. Oh, poor us. We lost Tom Brady, and now Bill Belichick's moving on, and we're just not the same team it's been. Oh, that's got to be rough. That's really got to be rough. You know what? I hope you guys go back to like pre-1980s Patriots.
Pete Carroll Patriots. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Suck.
And even those teams, they still somehow made a Super Bowl. Played the Bears in '85 with Steve Grogan or whoever the heck the quarterback was. Everybody forgets that Patriots team because they got steamrolled by the Chicago Bears and that '85 Bears defense. But they still made it. And you look back, you see the Browns were so good in the mid '80s, didn't make a single Super Bowl. The Patriots. How did we get on the Patriots? We're supposed to be talking about the Texans. Let's get this show back on track.
I love the energy right now. I'm ready to run through this brick wall.
Yeah, I'm getting way more fired up.
I got a wood, why?
We're getting closer and closer to the end of the show, and I know I get to eat as soon as the show's over. So I'm getting more and more excited. We're talking about my team. I know it's unbiased. We're talking about my team, and I'm going to get food soon.
Yeah, if we had an opinion, that would be what it is. So it's 2-point spread. Browns at Texans. It was 2.5. We lost we lose Ward, we lose the hook.
That's almost weird. It's almost weird that none of these teams, like you were saying, that there's no hooks anywhere. That's just wild for the playoffs.
I mean, if there's a time to place your bets, like now's the time to kind of do it before those hooks sneak in before Saturday. Because these are not set in stone, so these are going to fluctuate.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like they're trying to get even money on this weekend, is how it looks. Sometimes as a gambler,
on one side, everybody on the other. Collect that vig.
Yeah, you can just sit there and you can read what Vegas is trying to tell you the weekend's going to be. And Vegas is seeing a lot of games settled by last-minute field goals and maybe touchdowns. I'm not sure. With these 3 7-point spreads, there could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pushes this weekend, which is how defeating would that be as a gambler to push on 5? I mean, you live to see another day, but
I mean, it could be worse, right?
Could be worse. I mean, you could be
a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. So
it's like kissing your sister. It's still a kiss, but it just doesn't feel right.
It feels like a bunch of ties right there.
Yeah, unless you're from Pittsburgh.
Now,
unbiased.
If the sharps are correct, and a lot of these games come down to last-second field goals, does that concern you in any way as a Cleveland Browns fan?
Oh, hell yes, dude, because they're saying this dude may not even be able to kick a 50-yarder.
So we've got, for those who don't know, Dustin Hopkins is hurt, and he is officially out for this game. So we got a guy by the name of Riley Patterson, right?
Yep.
Riley.
And it is a dude. It might be confused as a dudette, but it is a dude.
Yeah, my daughter's name is Riley. It's a great name. Goes either way.
Fantastic.
And hopefully her namesake, Riley, will do very well in this game and kick very well. But as a longtime Browns fan, the fact that we have a backup kicker, we just went through the Cade York experience, which was up, and then it was very much down. And thank God we got rid of him before the end of the season. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs right now. And Dustin Hopkins has had such a magical run, closing out ball games, making clutch kicks. And for him to go down against the Houston Texans trying to cover a kick, it's just too poetic right now and just concerns me way too much that Houston may have already gotten their work in on this game plan by him being out and going out in that game. And hoping that's not correct, but that does cause me pause right off the top. So, I brought all that energy right now. I will give that huge asterisk to this game that I'm very concerned about the kicking game for the Cleveland Browns.
I definitely see us chucking it, going for touchdowns. Well, I mean, the Cleveland Browns, not we, because that would be biased. The Cleveland Browns going for a lot of touchdowns in this or short field goals. I'd say if they're 4th and under 5 and they're 50 yards out, 53 yards from a field goal. I mean, Stefanski's not afraid to dial it up.
Flacco time.
It's Flacco time. And I'd like to know what the over-under is on this, actually. It is 44.5.
It could be interesting.
I like the over on that because that's not
I do too. Because we can't run the ball. We really, the last game we ran the ball a little bit prior to the Bengals. We ran the ball a little bit, but I mean, generally with our offensive line being kind of beat up the way it is, we've just been throwing it. We just been letting Flacco go. And then I don't know if you watched the Texans play the Colts, but the Texans, CJ Stroud was just throwing the ball. They had Singletary back there. He ran for like 40 or 60 yards. He was right in that range. The last time the Browns met the Texans, he had about the same amount. So they're not going really the ground game. It's going to be CJ Stroud throwing the ball. It's going to be Joe Flacco throwing the ball. This is not going to be, that Bills and Steelers game out there in the snow. It's going to be the opposite of that. I think we're going to see some scoring. And I think at the end, it's going to be some back and forth. Even though the Browns have such a good defense, I'm worried about Denzel Ward being out for this game. I'm worried about the fact that we got Grant Delpit's out again. I was really excited earlier this week when I thought there was a potential for him to come back. I think he adds so much, whether it be in help in coverage or in the blitz. He's got a couple of nice sacks in key times for us this year, so that concerns me. So I could see CJ Stroud being able to move the ball. It's going to come down to Jim Schwartz ultimately being able to scheme a defense that makes CJ Stroud do something that no other team has been able to do this year, and that's make him look like a rookie. Make him look like a rookie. And if we can do that, we're going to win this ball game. If we can't, then we're going to be in trouble. Myles Garrett, be Myles Garrett, get after him, make him uncomfortable back there. And if we make it a long afternoon for CJ Stroud, I think it's going to be good for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, Zadarius Smith had a week off. Myles, both your studs at defensive end. Zadarius last time at Houston really got to eat on that right tackle. Laramie Tunsil's on Myles Garrett, so that's going to create a lot of one-on-one matchups because he's one of the few guys that probably can handle Myles at least a little bit. And I think
he can handle that smoke. We know that.
Is Myles Garrett finally going to get some holding calls? Because here's the other thing. Myles Garrett, first quarter, 2 holding calls called on him, and they got to start, letting go of the grabs, and they kill a couple drives because of it, and Myles gets to pin his ears back the second half. It's an interesting situation. But I like your analysis of we got basically Jim Schwartz-led defense against a rookie quarterback. I mean, you got to love your chances in that there. Jim Schwartz is also trying to coach his defense to polish his resume for the NFL coaching vacancies that he is on record saying he
shut up. Stop. Don't talk like that.
I just put that out there. I'm just,
why you put that out there? Take that back.
It's already out there. It's like I invented it.
All right. If you just came back, we just edited out the last part of this show.
Okay. It was Daryl Ryder. It was his fault.
No, we can't lose Schwartzy. I tell you what, he has been just absolutely fantastic for us defensively. Figured it out after everything that we went through last year. He's finally got those guys believing on that side of the ball. He really does.
He really does. And I'm tired of this lopsided. Everyone clings to stats. And everyone's like 29 points on the road defense, 29 points on the road defense. It's like, okay, so that just means we're not good. Everyone's just so hung up on it's like we had 0 good road games the whole year. And it's not true. It's
the
really
splits
not true.
Are ugly. The splits are ugly. It would be nice to be playing this at home because we do play so much better defense. But we're not Joe Woods defense on the road.
Right.
We can still play. I think our focus has got to be playing timely defense too. And I think that means creating some turnovers. CJ Stroud, you got to get that pressure you were talking about with Zadarius, with Myles, and you got to get a couple of turnovers because just like we saw when the Browns played the Steelers in that playoff game from a few years ago, and that thing was a mess from the beginning. You have the snap that goes over Ben Roethlisberger's head famously that we love to bring up all the time. But things just things just happen for the Steelers that don't normally happen. And that was with Ben Roethlisberger. Now you
Right.
have stuff like that with a CJ Stroud. Like you said, if Miles is starting to get some calls early, he's able to get a little bit of pressure. We're able to get after him early, kind of rattle him a little bit. I think he comes off the tracks, and then all of a sudden the Cleveland Browns are going to be clicking.
Yeah, and I mean, and here's the other thing too is Tank Dell's out, so we have a really good secondary. You basically got Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz.
That's it.
And then,
they got one wide out. They got a tight end.
Other guys to fill out the roster essentially. So then it's like, okay, even without Ward, we have Emerson, Newsome, and then we still have Jock and Taki.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to put Jock on Schultz all day. I mean,
yeah.
And then you got Jock as a spy on Stroud if he wants to use his legs. So I really like the Browns matchup on defensive paper. Now, if they had Tank Dell, then that makes things a lot more different for the Texans in this one. But I just think Browns defense, man, I just have this feeling like Schwartz is going to have them guys fighting like junkyard dogs on Saturday. I just see that. We'll learn a lot in the first defensive set. If they can come out and just penetrate that O-line, first 3 plays, smack them right in the mouth, I think that's really going to set the tone. And Stroud's going to know right off the rip, like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, I mean, as good as C.J. Stroud looked in that last game against the Colts, it was basically going to Nico Collins, who almost had 200 yards by himself right there, and then the tight end. And that's really the way that they were able to matriculate the ball down the field. And so that's got to be, for a guy like Jim Schwartz, got to be easy for him to scheme at the beginning to take those guys away. And then as the game goes on, I'm very confident in his ability to make more adjustments than what the Texans do when they start accounting for that. So I hate being as optimistic as I am right now about the Cleveland Browns, and football gods just ignore this entire conversation. But you have every reason to feel good as you can about a team, that has rarely been to the playoffs, only has one playoff win since we've been back, and a team that's on the road this week. But I feel pretty good about things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm nervous because I just don't want to see this magical year come to an end. And even as like a Browns fan that has suffered through a lot of wild and weird in my life, the way this season has just magically aligned, it doesn't seem like it's in Destiny's cards to end this season. So, you know what I mean? Like that's the story. Like that's how it ends. Like you lose on the road to the Houston Texans.
Do not tempt, though. You know.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like you want to think that, but you're still scared. You're like, as a fan, you are scared. If you're a Browns fan and you're not scared a little bit on Saturday, I'm just going to call you a liar. Because we're not used to this. We're not used to being the favorites. We had no chance against Steelers. We were COVID out. Half the team was out with COVID. No fans in the stadium.
Even have our coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're going up against Big Ben in this final voyage, so
they were the team,
nothing to lose. But now this game just could be Flacco's final game. This could be a world where this could be the last game that Flacco
as a Cleveland Brown. I think he's coming back to play for somebody next year.
Oh, God. Can we just sign him for 3 years just to have him for the rest of the contract?
We're not going to do it. You know what he's going to do?
No way. He's got to get paid. He's going to get paid. He deserves it.
Here's what I think he's going to do. He's not even going to get paid in the offseason, I don't think. If he's the type of guy who I think he is, and everything that we've seen is this tremendous family guy. He's got enough money. He's got, himself set up for life, for him, for his kids, for everything else. Seems to be a big family guy. I'd go out next year, forget about minicamp, forget about training camp, just stay at home, play with your kids, watch them in all their sports. Just wait. We've got a 17-game NFL season every single season. Every year is going to be similar to this. Maybe not quite as bad, but there are going to be teams who have playoff aspirations and are, genuinely can make the playoffs, who will lose their starting quarterback. Week 3, week 7, week 8, week 9, whenever it might be, they give a call to Joe Flacco. Joe says, yeah, I can play for a little bit. I don't have to go to training camp. I don't have to go to mini camp. I don't have to do any of that BS back in August. I don't have to go to these stupid preseason games. I don't have to do anything. I'll come and I'll play a few games. We make the playoffs. Fantastic. The magical ride continues. We don't. It's a couple of months away from the family. Then I go back after the holiday with my family again. I think that's what I do if I'm Joe Flacco. Now, trust me, I would love nothing more than for him to be the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. I don't think that's going to happen. You got too much invested in Deshaun Watson and just no way out of that right now for the foreseeable future. You're going with Deshaun next year, and unfortunately, Flacco is going to be somewhere else.
Yep, and that's the life of a Browns fan. But we're thankful for living in the
we're going to face him. If that happens, we're going to face him. And there's going to be some chips.
Yeah, he's not going to the NFC. There's no way he leaves the conference, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. But even if he goes to the NFC, we're either going to play him in the regular season or we'll play him in the Super Bowl next year.
I can't even do the way it works. When I do this, I mean situation talks. Situation talks. If it's a good, like if a Brock Purdy would go down next year, he'd be like, "Yeah, I can play for the Niners. Like, yeah, I can go to San Fran."
Yeah.
So
he can go right from the couch to playing in the NFL. Which, by the way, Deshaun Watson proved a couple of times he cannot do. And this whole thing about rust and all of that, I am sick of that now. Let's not talk about that until next year. And I'm sorry for bringing it up, but we just saw Joe Flacco do it this season. Next season, I tell you what, Deshaun Watson gets in there, he had better be balling out right off the get-go. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. But that's for another day. That's for the off-season discussion.
And we'll have plenty of time. There's always that great 6-month lull. But
it's going to be a little less this year, hopefully, because we're going to be so deep in the playoffs.
That's right, baby. That's right. So I guess my question then for you, another one of this, it's been talked in my circles. Does a deep Browns playoff run take pressure off of Deshaun Watson?
In your circles? Well, those are very prestigious circles, too.
A lot of degenerates. A lot of degenerates.
Did you say, did it take the pressure off Deshaun Watson? I was so hung up on the circles.
If the Browns would make a deep run, does it take the pressure off of Deshaun Watson? And if they win the Super Bowl, which, that's a stretch, it definitely would. Because we'd be like, who cares? Like, we can go 0-16. Like, we still got the ring. But let's just say, like, win 2 games, get to the AFC Championship game, lose in, respectable fashion, close game. Does it take the pressure off of Deshaun Watson next year that the Browns got the fans got a nice playoff run?
It does the exact opposite. I believe it does the exact opposite, because you said one of those things, and this always happens with the Cleveland Browns, or really with any team in Cleveland that gets good. As soon as something happens and you have a little bit of a run, you set an expectation. And you set an expectation for the fans. And if we bomb out in the first round, then it's like, okay, that was bad. Hopefully Deshaun can come back and we'll look good next year. But if you go farther, you make it to the AFC Championship, you make it to the Super Bowl, whatever it might be. If you make it farther, that's going to be the expectation. And that's what Deshaun Watson's going to have to ride with next year.
There's still a lot of fans that aren't happy Watson's in Cleveland. That would you're right. That would be not a good argument for them to have.
That's always the tough thing with our teams is they get to a certain level. And then the tough part is once you get the expectation. Once you get the expectation, how do you deal with things? How do you deal with a little bit of success? And we've been able to get to that cusp a few times, and then it kind of crumbles after that. So once again, that's a discussion for next year. Let's just bask in what we're doing and just enjoy this magical run, because that discussion is coming. Trust me, it will come. But for right now, man, we're focused on the Texans. We're focused on winning here. And hey, riding with Flacco, right? It's fun. We got the t-shirt companies cranked up. We got the merch out there all over the place. I've seen so many versions of, Flacco around and find out, and, Cool Joe, and all of this stuff that's out there for Joe Flacco. And it's just so much fun right now. I just love it. Yeah. I mean, this is what it's supposed to be about, right?
I mean, God, we've done a lot of stuff with Burke this year. The tailgates, so we've been really invested in this season, and it has been an absolute blast. I could not imagine doing all this that we've done this year for another, what has been the standard for Browns fans since 1999. So it's been that
roller coaster. We've rolled that roller coaster this year too. I mean, you lose Nick Chubb. I mean, against that Steelers on Monday night, was that? I don't remember whether you were there, Tony, for the.
Oh
for the
yeah, we
last
were
one.
all there. I
Yeah, you were
missed
there,
the
okay.
injury.
Oh yeah, I was there
was,
sitting
like,
next
going
to
to
Josh
food,
Cribb.
And then I'm like, why is Jerome Ford playing right now? And everyone's like, well, Chubb's out. And I'm like, oh shit.
I'm sitting there with Josh Cribbs and Greg Williams, and this whole room just went silent, and you could just feel the energy. I mean, the whole rest of that game almost seemed inconsequential once Chubb was down, and we thought the season was definitely over. Then you lose Watson, and then just this comeback story and what we've been able to put together. It's just been such a fun ride, and it's amazing that's all happened within one season. We're used to the ups and downs, and man, to have it just whip up and down the way it has this season. And we talked about the NFC East. We talked about those teams that are kind of fading right now. We're doing the exact opposite. I mean, put that Bengals game up on a shelf. Forget about that.
Yeah, I mean,
Outside
that
of
wasn't
that,
even a real
this team's
game.
on a roll. This team is on a roll.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think we are due for a good defensive game on the road. I'm sitting here looking at the scores, and the games that were, there was a couple we won where we still gave up 35 points and still won. So it's going to be, like the Colts, like 39-38 victory. But yeah, it's
thanks to the refs a little bit at the end of that one. But
yeah,
that was even nice. Hey, we're starting to get calls. Oh heck,
and the Niners was the week before that. We had back-to-back weeks where the refs threw the flag after the game we thought was over, and I'm like, what is going on? So again, on that note, no way the Browns lose on Saturday. You cannot do this to us. You cannot do it.
The stars are aligning, my friend.
The stars are aligning. And all I'm going to say is there's a total eclipse happening in a few months in Ohio, and it might be coming early in Cleveland.
Nice.
Lights out. That's it. So, running down real quick down the lineup here. NFC. Both got Dallas. And it's down here on the bottom ticker as well. Everybody we've been updating this, so look down here below.
Very good. I like
both went to Dallas. Oh yeah, man.
I didn't even notice the ticker. Here, I'm staring at it, and I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
going
man.
Across the bottom.
It's like an Easter.
Great production value here. Well done.
Hey, good job, Damon. We love you, Damon. Behind the stage, just making all this happen.
Well done, Damon.
Rams, Lions. You went Detroit. Yeah. I went with the Road Dog Rams. Tampa Bay for you, Philly for me, and the Eagles at Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. And then AFC was a clean sweep. We both went KFC, Buffalo, and the Browns on that one there. So 3 and
my heart is still going with the Dolphins and unfortunately the Steelers because I want that home game. But
yeah,
my money is going the opposite way.
Yeah, our wallet is going to make a smarter choice than that. But yeah, man, thank you so much for doing this. Curious to see how all this plays out. We'll see where the standings are, and it'll be even a quicker one going forward because there's going to be less games. And yeah, this is going to be exciting. Good luck to you. Enjoy the freaking game this weekend, man. Take it in. Tell the fam, Tony's with them in spirit, and the barbecue will be flowing in their honor. So yeah, man.
I got some of your zesty bagel, anything bagel, Redbeard seasonings right here. So I've got it all, man. I'm ready to eat, ready to tailgate, ready to watch this game come Saturday.
Man, so many. Anybody wants some of that? Like, that sounds good. It's on Amazon. Type in zesty anything bagel or go to redbeardseasonings.com and just look for that. So anyway, thanks for the pointless plug there, man. This was a commercial free show until then. I love it.
Sneak one in there for you.
Sneak one in. We do have, and also we do have the Garage Beer on here. I forgot. Every show is brought to you by Garage Beer. It's delicious. It's a light beer. It's an all-dayer. 4% to the gut. It's delicious. Won't go to your hips. That's the important thing. So might go to your gut, but it won't go to your butt. Oh, shout out.
Nice. Look at that.
Yes.
One line over here.
So dudes and dudettes, kick back this weekend. It's the playoffs. It's 6 games over 3 days. Just enjoy it. Cancel your plans. Make it happen. Just enjoy with your family. Enjoy with your friends. Get the barbecue flowing. Get the garage beers flowing. And you know what? We will see you guys next week. We'll see you next time.